That helped.
All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Katie and I, have decided to just jump on and create a little series. And the reason for that is because Katie and I are good friends, and we walk along a similar path and journey. And our conversations get pretty juicy when we're talking about some of the life experiences that we've gone through, and how we're healing and working towards just embodiment of our higher nature, our higher self, and our true expression. And so, yeah, we decided to just create this little series, and we just wanted to record these chats, to share them with whoever is interested in learning more about like a more vulnerable, open, authentic, honest, raw conversation about, the healing journey and what that looks like, the journey that we're on when we step into divine service, and our path towards really being in our purpose. So yeah, we just wanted to record these and share them with you. And I'm going to let Katie just introduce herself to you.
Thanks, Em. Yeah, the biggest inspiration is Em and I get on the phone. We can talk forever, and it's like, whoa, this needs to be shared. So I'm forever truth seeker, transformation, soul, here for light and love, definitely. And professionally, I'm in the transformation arts, so health and transformation coaching. So whether it's on the physical level with Pilates and strength training and really like mindful exercise patterning in the body, or holistic nutrition, or working on the shadow and the ego and the shame and dissolving that so that my clients can realize and become more of their true selves. Yeah, I've been doing that in different degrees, but over 20 years. So it's really like, it's who I am at the core. It's who I am with my friends. It's who I am with my clients. And so I love the vulnerability and sharing, because I believe there's so much healing in the telling, and then the inspiration that, can reach the wider audience. And, you and I both work with our clients one-on-one. And I also feel like our voice and our stories need to be shared, because yes, we're leaders with our clients, but we're also practitioners and on this journey as well. And there's so much juiciness in our own individual journey. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And so for myself, I do Akashic Records readings for people, just like a soul kind of profile reading. And I also support people on their ascension journey and their awakening journey, and going through that process, as it can be, really challenging to go through all those changes. And that's what I have deep experience with. So that's kind of my role on this path and at this time. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. And we don't really have a structure. We don't really have like any questions or anything that we're specifically wanting to talk about. So we're just going to kind of riff a little bit today, and we really just set the intention for this to be in service to your divine expression, to your divinity, to your highest good. And if you're feeling a call to this information, then that's really, we're just in service to supporting you on the journey of healing, holding, and stepping more into who you really are. So that's really, what we set out to do today. And so we're just going to jump into just sharing some of the intimate details of our journeys in our lives when it comes to this kind of behind the scenes, deep, grueling kind of spiritual, emotional, work that we do. And we just wanted to share that with everybody. So yeah, we're going to dive in and just, who knows what's going to come forward, but we just want it to be as raw and open and honest as possible.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Anything that comes up, Katie, to share, like just as an opening to this kind of stuff?
Well, I think that's a really good opening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what keeps like sort of circling in my mind, or what I keep hearing, is like there's healing in the telling. There's healing in the telling. And one thing that I know I'm here on mission for is to help people free up their voice. And therefore, that's been one of the most challenging things for me, because whatever we're on mission for, we have to transmute within ourselves. So having a voice that's been so shut down, terrified to be seen, terrified to speak in public, and these limiting beliefs like around, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, why should I share my voice? And I know that viewers watching this would relate. So there's healing in the actual telling, and then there's also ideally like inspiration. And like the reason that this process has become more graceful, of healing my deepest painful limiting beliefs, has become because of community, because of because of like bonding and putting myself out there, becoming more vulnerable, talking about what I'm challenged by. And that's something I want to definitely get across to you, is I know so many people are suffering alone, and it is really important to find community of like vibrational people with a similar goal, a similar like destination, because we do pick each other up. So, and I was just sharing with I have different support. So like I have my own coaches and my own groups that I'm a part of that help me to grow and give me the tools to, and I are both a part of one that's just been outstanding with the tool of unwinding our mind, using any and every trigger in our life to then go within instead of look without, which is the most empowering thing, not to be the victim of emotions that grip us and challenge us, or circumstances that can break our heart or hurt us so deeply, and to be able to say, wow, this is an opportunity for deep healing. And so this 10-step plus 4-step program of getting to the root has been unbelievable. And the most recent one, like, not to just talk high level, but to get into it, what is a program for me that was developed quite young because of distortion with sex and love, which was like, my sexuality is how I get attention and love. And it created an ego persona that I wasn't even aware of fully. Like, it was so hidden. The ego can be so masterful in the way that it expresses itself. I didn't even understand why I kept attracting similar situations with men, but it was like this part of my ego that was reaching out. And some would call that, what did I say about it? I'm blanking now. What would some people call that? The seductress, or right? Like,
yeah,
that sort of distorted divine feminine beauty, using it to lure in attention. And at the root of it was a 12-year-old who was desperately looking for her father's love. And her father abandoned her at age 3, and still was looking for it in a man. And so developed an ego persona that would attract men, but never get the love that I actually wanted. So I got the attention, but I didn't get the love. And, at 39 and a half, I know what 39-year-old says that, but 39, no, 3/4. I have an inner child that's really strong and playful. 39 3/4, getting to the root of that and seeing where it was born, and seeing how it's like, actually designed and started dictating my life, was the most empowering thing, because I was like, why are these scenarios happening over and over and over? And it's not the attention I want, it's not the love I actually want. And like, that in itself is unbelievable, because Emily and I were taught, and we know this, we are writing our play. We are writing our play from our limiting beliefs. And as long as these limiting beliefs are in operation, I will be creating a play that I might not like, but it's happening. So I was just like, this is too uncanny for it to happen so much in my life. So I used that, and with help of another, intuitive, I really got to see something that was like quite masterfully cloaked in love. Like, I couldn't even see it. That's how, so sometimes we really need, like, that's the other point here. Sometimes we actually, as incredible as you and I are at finding our own limiting beliefs, sometimes we need that someone to come in and hold a space and shine a light where we can't even see.
For sure. For sure.
And I know you and I do that with our clients, but like we need that as well. And I was just so grateful. And the shifts, unbelievable. These things I thought were innate to me. Like, oh yeah, I need touch all the time. I need to be held. It was my little crying out for love, but then translate into an adult. And it was like making me make decisions that were not good for me. Going back to relationships that are not good for me.
Yeah.
Because it was so desperate and I thought it was just what I needed. Therefore I have to do it.
Yeah.
When that dissolved, I couldn't believe it. Like I no longer have these like physical needs.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a sexual, sensual human, but I'm not needing. It's different.
Yeah.
I don't need it for fuel. I don't need it for happiness.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm free to actually make a decision that's in alignment with my truth. And I'm like, whoa, things are about to get really fun for me because it's like, integrity is
because when you bring that unconscious behavior, unconscious programming into the conscious mind, one of my mentors said something really brilliant, is like, that gives you choice, right? Then you have choice. Then what do you have when you have choice? You have power. You have power. And that's really the point of all this work, right? It's about reclaiming our own inner power to create our reality in the world as we would want it to be, as is aligned to, our highest good, our highest nature. And when we're operating from all these unconscious programs and patterns, it seems to be part of just our identity. And that's the ego, right? When it's just like part of our identity, and in a way we identify as that and with that, and it's merged with us. When we can separate or become aware of those subconscious drivers, we can begin to observe them and see them. And then when we remove that from our identity, we can see, first of all, ourselves more clearly, right? Because then we're more connected and bringing in more of our true authentic self. And we see these programs and patterns and past identities as illusions, essentially, based on a false, a false reality, that creates suffering, pain. It has a certain level of control over us because, again, it's driving things from our subconscious. So we don't have power and we don't have awareness there. We need to, that's the work. The work is to bring these things into the conscious mind so we can begin to have more connection to what's in our highest good and begin to dissolve these programs and these patterns that would, their purpose is to, in essence, create more suffering, right? Because it's like we're creating from illusion and we're being driven into something that isn't a higher vibration, isn't our highest nature. It's creating pain, really, because it's coming from a place of lack and it's not connected to God, I guess you could say, or our higher nature, highest truth. It has no energy. It's illusion. And so when we bring that into the forefront and we bring that into our conscious mind, then we can begin to see, okay, I was operating from this place, and that place is only going to create more of the same thing, which is more illusion, more, and that creates more pain and suffering. So it's a whole can of worms that, that we can get into there, because we all have so much unconscious programming, right? We all come in with, there's many, it's a complex thing, but there's many layers, right? It's like we choose from our soul level perspective, like, okay, what are the challenges we're going to come in with? What are the things that we're going to work with, right? Or play with as a soul? Like, what are the lessons or, karmic things that we want to, explore or clear or play with in this incarnation. And then we come in with that as our choice. And then, you know, where we come in, when we come in, who we come into, like our parents and family and all of that, that's also choice. So when we come in through our lineage, we also bring forward all the stuff that like they haven't cleared, right? And so in a way, like we're choosing all that stuff, and that's something that we're working with in this incarnation. And then on top of that, we got all the collective stuff that, as just being a human, you know, there's all this past and history and, you know, stuff in our cellular memory that we come in and kind of adopt as a human, as a woman, you know, as a man, as this color of skin, as this certain, you know, societal placement. Like there's all these things that we come in with and we get to play with. And these are all kind of collective programs, collective patterns. And each individual has their own unique set of everything that they're working with. And at the same time, we all have like a collective stuff that we're working with too, right? So what Katie's talking about is like the seductress, and how many women have that as a program, right? That to overcome and to dissolve and to become aware of it, and to work with too. Like in our world, in this, you know, time, we have that as an archetype that one adopts and brings forward. And that's been something that, you know, has been used throughout time, right? Like as women, how many of us have gotten love from being sexy and being a temptress and you know, seducing and having that energy, right? And sometimes that's what's given us power. Sometimes that's what's given us safety. Sometimes that's what's given us quote unquote love, or attention, or whatever it is, like whatever in us that's been lacking, right? Because that's what the ego does, right? It creates that lack, or it is that lack, and it's always to get, right? We always, these things, when they are you know, active, it's always to get. It's never as a gift. It's never to give. It's never in abundance. It's never in you know, a cup overflowing. It's always something that's coming from lack, right? It's always trying to get something in return. So that's what these programs do. That's what they create in life, is this feeling of, or sense of lack, and that we need something from somewhere else. And it's not healthy. It doesn't create health overall, and it never will. It never will. And so what Kay's talking about is just one program, right? There's tons. And everybody comes in with their own combination, unique combination. And at the same time, we all share similar ones as well, right? And we can definitely get into more of those too.
Yeah.
But there's just, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, there's just one thing that I want to say, is just setting up like as a premise. So I'll let Katie speak to this for herself, but I've been on my spiritual awakening or healing journey for I don't know, 16 or 17 years. And what that means is that like I've just had an awakening experience, which means like a lot of times it's birthed from like a dark night of the soul, kind of painful, you know, time of suffering, right? And that's where we get super really like almost brings us to our knees in questioning things and like why we're here, who we are. And that sincere questioning within us opens up a whole new life for us. And that life brings with it like so much, right? It's just a journey of richness and of death, right? It's like a constant dying to ourselves, like ego dying, you know. It's like we're constantly going through these death processes and then rebirthing ourselves as, you know, more of who we are. And so I just wanted to set that up as like, you know, this is something we've been doing for a long time. And there's been a lot of studying, there's been a lot of learning and unlearning and processing and dying and rebirthing. And yeah, we're at a place now that we can, you know, assist others on that journey too. And at the same time, we're still on our journeys as well, doing this stuff. You know, it's a high level kind of stuff that we're doing, But nonetheless, we're still, working on this stuff. And that's what this journey is all about, right? It's always about refining and becoming more and embodying more of who we are. And the way that we do that is to remove the things that we're not, right? We're always who we are. We're always who we are. But it's just those stuff that's on top of that, right? It's like removing our glasses, and there's one glass after another after another. It's veils of forgetting or illusion or distortions or whatever. And that's what we've kind of all incarnated into, and that's what we're all removing in this process, in this journey. And it's not an overnight thing. It's not like you can just do one thing and you're healed and you're good and whatever. This is a process. It's an awakening. It's a journey. We're stepping into higher vibrational aspects, right? And we're bringing those down into our physical form, and we're clearing our physical form in order to make space for that high vibrational information and light and coding that we are. So we're in this process that we're clearing out the stuff, we're bringing things down, and then we're also activating ourselves and bringing that light into ourselves so we can enlighten our body and bring our body up to meet, in this beautiful space of where we're embodied as our whole self. We have our souls as our higher dimensional aspects, right? We're wanting to bring that into this dimension, this physical dimension, as much as possible. And through that, that's basically the ascension journey, the ascension process. And so just setting that up as a premise, because I just want to speak to those people who are on that journey already, who maybe you don't know that that's the journey that you're on, but you are on that journey, or who are stepping onto that journey right now, because we're at a time on this planet where this whole planet and humanity as a whole is on this ascension journey, on this ascension pathway. And so, you've either chosen that as a soul or you've not. But if you've chosen that as a soul, this is what it's kind of going to look like. Like, you're going to be making the unconscious conscious. You're going to be choosing your healing and your holding and your stepping into divine service for yourself as a result of, that awakening process, that awakening journey, and that ascension journey. So just know that, this is kind of a global thing that's happening, and there's people who are leading the way. There's people who have chosen and been chosen to lead the charge, to do the work. That's why so many of us, you can see so many of us, very high vibrational souls, starseed souls, have come in, and we've chosen a really difficult, some of us, not all of us, but have chosen really difficult lives, really difficult experiences, and really difficult things to transform and transmute, because we've kind of agreed to do that, as at this time. And so if you recognize these things in you, then I would say, like, you're definitely a person who as a soul has chosen that journey and that path on that higher level, and are a leader for humanity and the collective, which is a huge responsibility. It's not an easy journey. It's not an easy thing to really step into and own. So I just want to say, so many of us have these stories of pain and trauma and stuff that we've gone through in this incarnation, this life, and even like remembering past lifetimes and whatnot. But it's because we've chosen to step forward as the energetic or frequency leaders for humanity, for this planet, and we're working with her, the planet, the energy of the planet, to move forward, to move higher up in vibration. And it's happening. And we're all doing this work together. It's a collective kind of working together. So there's not like one savior, one person who's leading the way, or one person who's, influencing everybody. We're working as a team. We're spread out throughout the planet. We're connected to each other via energy, and we're all working as a team. So as one person clears one program or one, trauma or pattern, or bring something unconscious into the conscious, that affects the whole. And that uplifts the whole. And that's really the work that we're doing. We're working on ourselves to really affect the whole and to assist in the clearing of these energies, right? Because the more people who do it, the easier it gets for everyone. So there are waves of people doing this work. There's frontliners, there's second wavers, and so what we're also wanting to say is, like, no matter where you are on your journey, if you are on that path, you are a leader for humanity, and you can help people depending on, because I'll give you an example, right? There's people that Katie and I work with who are developed or energetically more aligned to their higher nature than maybe we are, or something like that. They've got a skill set, they've got abilities that we don't have, that will help us to clear and cleanse and become more aware and heal and all of those things, right? And so we work with them, and they're kind of like guides for us. And then there's us, and we work on ourselves, and we have skills and abilities, and where we are on our journey, we have certain embodied codes as well, and we can help people without those, right? And the same goes down the line, right? So the people who we help then also have a certain responsibility to the people who are kind of, not as far along as they are on their journey. So, there's waves of people, and we're all kind of pushing and pulling this thing along and moving this thing along, but it's a collective team effort, and we're all working together, and we're all sharing our skills and abilities and, awarenesses and all of that, because on some level, yeah, we are all this one being moving in a direction. And the more we get on board, right, the better it is for everyone. So we all win. When one person wins, when one person becomes conscious, when one person awakens, when one person clears something that's been there, we all win. So I just wanted to, I know that was a lot, but I just wanted to set that as a premise of kind of the work that we're doing and the importance and significance of this work. It doesn't go in the collective field, when we look at things from an energy perspective, it doesn't go unnoticed. It's not just a little pebble being thrown. It's a pebble, it's a rock, and it's a pebble that makes huge waves in the collective, and it affects everybody. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
That was good. That was really good. Like overview.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer that as just a premise of this work and why we're doing this and why we've been doing this and who we are a little bit more. Yeah,
it's important. Going into the nitty gritty, and then also going into the the high level.
Yeah.
You said something at the beginning that when we reveal the unconscious, I like using examples. So it's I'm going to stick to really the nitty gritty, because I think there's a lot of value in that and relatability. So the seductress program. Mm-hmm. So it hijacked a lot of my choices, a lot of my aligned choices, and making choices that were not in alignment to my highest and best good. Mm-hmm. And so now that it's dissolved, I feel free. And the word power, you said, so power and choice are really important. And choice is actually how we transform. So I can know many things. I can shift my attitudes. I can shift my belief about many things, but until I make a new choice, I don't create a new reality. So this is all to lead us to be able to feel the empowerment to make a different choice. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to that man that I know, my friends know, everyone knows, does not serve my highest good. And I'm going to stick with that choice. The courage behind that, if we have a subconscious belief driving us, no, you won't be safe within a man. No, you need his love. You need it. Mm-hmm. Then it doesn't matter how much he mistreats me. I'm going to keep choosing him.
Yeah.
So once that dissolves, now I get to choose from a higher perspective that is actually in my highest good. That's power. Power in the perversion and in chauvinism is domination and control. Mm. My ego is dominating and controlling me. Mm-hmm. I was disempowered to it, right? Mm-hmm. Now I have true power in chivalry, I like chauvinism, chivalry, right? Versus like the shame program and the love and light program or world we're creating. In the love and light world we're creating, power is about your ability to speak and make choice and respond to any scenario that comes your way from alignment. That's true power, is to be able to make a choice, speak, or respond from alignment. And we know that when we feel disempowered, it feels like our hands are behind my back, right? And so many times I make choices and I feel like I'm so disempowered, but I'm making this choice. And that is when something else I want to refer to in my experience of anchoring more of my light. That ego program does hold darkness in me. It's like it takes up space and it's like dark space. And then when it goes, it's not like, okay, I have to say, okay, so I'll come embody. It happens automatically.
Yeah.
So that next stage is like someone will like be like, wow, you seem lighter. Oh, you seem more energetic. Oh, you know, and Em said that too. Like, wow, I knew you were gone. You were in it. And we couldn't even connect because vibrationally it wasn't a match. And then I dealt with it. Em didn't even know, but just we could connect. And then we connect. She's like, oh, I can feel the shift again.
Yeah.
Because that happens automatically. So what I love about this work is like you do the hard pushing and then the easy stuff just floods in. Like the joy is there.
Yeah.
Just more of my happiness is there. I don't have to work for it.
Yeah.
Right. And my ability to say no thanks, it's easy. So that to me is like a taste of what this new world that we're building and co-creating together feels like. When people say it could be easy, sometimes I just like, my life has been nothing but hard. Like it just feels like every corner is hard.
Yeah.
The new world isn't that. The hardness comes from the ego.
Yeah.
The ease is, it comes from being aligned with soul and higher self. And I love that I'm experiencing more of that ease and speckled throughout my journey, of course. But I was one who chose, and it became very clear with working intuitive, but I knew this, I choose a mission of coming in through dark, sticky energies to transmute them to be representative of like, it's possible, and then to anchor love and light. And many times, Em and I, I'm sure you too, like, it's like, I'm done. This is impossible.
Yeah,
like,
tap out.
What did I sign up for?
Yeah.
You know, and that's real. That is a real point. Like there's so many different points, but no matter what I do feel that it's like the ease is and the grace, it's and the elegance of this and the elegance of my soul is starting to come through more because of like, especially the last 2 years of like deep conscious digging. And it is, you said something else I wanted to say, this is a choice.
Yeah.
This is a choice to see life as an opportunity to clear up your shadow, your shame, and your subconscious.
Yeah.
And it isn't like you get up and you brush your teeth once and you're good for a week. You got to brush your teeth every day, right? You got to drink your water every day. It's the same with this work. Em and I are diligent. It's focused. It's dedicated. It sometimes builds up. It's like, I got 5 unwinds to do. Okay, let's do it. And that's where the high five and encouragement, inspiration of like community is so important because you can feel like, wow, how am I going to get to that other side?
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I thought, no way. This is just a life of suffering for me. I can feel it. I'm just doomed to suffer. Like, are you kidding me? Ease? Like things just coming my way with ease and creating, you know, and hanging out with beautiful people all the time and like beautiful environment. It's happening. But there was many times I was like, I can't, it was just, it seemed impossible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I've been there.
You had that before?
Maybe once or twice. Maybe once or twice. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a lot of examples, but one of the things I also want to say is like, you know, I can say this for both Katie and I is that, you know, something that's really important to us is freedom, right? And that's freedom on the planet, right? Because, you know, we're not really living on a free planet as of right now. It's getting there. But like not just freedom outside and to move about and to be who we are in the world, right? And to have that and to not have that like kind of interference. But also the biggest thing, and this is like, you know, as within, so without, the freedom inside. And that's what Katie's talking about with like the freedom to choose. And again, that brings us back into our power, but freedom from, you know, freedom from slavery or enslavement within our own consciousness, within our own minds. We're a slave to our programs, to our ego, to our unconscious patterns that keep us on those loops, those like cycles. Yeah.
The record just it's like it just plays the same thing, and then it's the same function,
Yeah.
but the form changes. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that person. Oh, but the record's still playing. A new person comes in to show up in the same form.
Yeah.
Oh, and then eventually you start realizing, who's the common denominator here? Me. And I love
Exactly.
what you said about freedom, because those are the codes we came in with, are like to seek for freedom and transformation and truth.
Yeah.
And it's not just freedom too. I love that, because in my most adolescent mind frame, I kept blowing up my life and moving to new places, because I thought my freedom was just being able to do what I want when I want. And it was always travel. And then I would go to these beautiful places like Hawaii. There I am. All my shit's following me. New players are playing the role for me. So it became in my wisdom, was like freedom from my own limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm searching for. Freedom from my own limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And then all this, and then, meeting up with you and saying, have you tried this work with, Katya? And like, it was just like all flowed so beautifully. But it really, I think people will relate to that, because I can't be the only one who's tried to run from myself.
Yeah.
And thought it's going to be better over there. It's going to be better when this happens. It's going to be great that if, like, over there, grass is greener. It's like, that is the ego. That is still the ego looping us in that record. And there's no way around it, really.
No.
Until we claim full responsibility and sovereignty over every aspect we've created in our life, and look at how it triggers us, and get to the root of it, which will be our belief system about ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way. Like the ego, right?
Yeah, it really does come down to this perspective, and really embodying this perspective, right? Which is, like you said at the beginning, everyone who shows up in a reality that's challenging for us is an opportunity for our liberation. If we perceive it that way, if we acknowledge it that way, if we accept that as the truth, only then may we go through a process of liberating our consciousness and ourselves from the program and ego pattern that's underneath the whole reason for these people to show up in the ways that they're showing up. They are in service to you. They are in service to us. And they are showing us and pointing us towards something within us that's there to be transmuted. Until we really get that perspective on board, life's just going to keep giving us the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's going to be so frustrating. And we've experienced that, until we came across the work that we did come across, which holds and teaches this very perspective, which is really, it is just like you said, it's personal. It's really getting serious about being personally responsible for everything in your life, and changing that, right?
And how
not trying to change others, not trying to change things from the outside. It's changing the inside, and it's crazy. Katie and I can both attest to this. It's crazy when you change something from the inside, how the outside immediately shifts. Immediately. It's like that person was like this, and then all of a sudden they're not like that anymore. It's like, well, what happened? What happened?
Or they're gone from your life. Sometimes they don't change, but you are able to just let it go now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't align with your frequency.
Yeah.
So either way, you will be free of whatever that icky emotion is that continues to grab your attention, because then it will show you the belief you're holding. For one, when you said that, I look around my home and I instantly got the memory and a story of when, I didn't realize until Emily was over and we were celebrating a friend's birthday, and we were accosted in my lobby during COVID. And it was the heightened experience of I'm unsafe in my home. And because of the work, I was like, oh, so many aspects of where I was living in Toronto, I felt unsafe. I did a massive unwind. And one of the questions in the unwind is, where have you experienced this before? When have you experienced this before? And it was like, all the light came shining in, I swear, from my soul and higher self. She's ready to see, she's ready to get it. And it was like, always, my entire life, I've never felt safe in a home from birth. I've never felt emotionally, mentally, physically safe in my own home. And I created a strong belief that I am not safe in my home.
Yeah.
And so every home I created was unsafe, no matter what it was. If my neighbor was trying to kick me out, or my roommate was like really mean to me, or like I just didn't feel safe. I don't know what it emotionally, mentally, that it was a threat of being kicked out. It was like always something so weird. I'm like, I'm a nice person. I don't get this. And I did the unwind, and I wanted to move to Collingwood for a good year. And I kept looking on Craigslist, and my higher self kept telling me it's not how you're going to find your home. But I kept looking on Craigslist. And that night I dropped to my knees, did this unwind, purged like the deepest pain, because when I did this, it also brought up all the pain from those experiences of living unsafe in my home, right? And I love that about this work. It also releases the cellular memory of the pain.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just fell to my knees, and it was midnight, and I started to go online on Craigslist, and my higher self said, please put your phone down and go to sleep. And I woke up the next morning at 8 a.m. I got a text from the person living in this home and said, randomly, I decided I'm moving to Montreal. I remember you saying how much you love this apartment. I just met her 2 weeks before this in a very serendipitous way. And she's like, I'm giving you first dibs. There's 20 people who are online for this. Like,
yeah. Wow.
the person who takes care of the home is like an angel. The home itself holds nothing but love. It's like a crystal, perfect for my sound healing ceremonies. Like everything about it is divine for me. It's a dream come true, but it would not have touched me, reached me, or got to me unless I cleared it. So here's a real life example of when you do the work, how instant it can be when we create the opening for alignment.
Yeah.
And we have unseen friends, unseen angels, whatever you want to call them, but we have unseen beings and energy working for us diligently, waiting like, okay, is she ready yet? No. Okay, is she ready now? No. Okay, she's ready. Okay. Oh my gosh, we know the home. We know exactly,
Yeah.
It's just wild.
Yeah. Yeah. It's synchronistically, it's synchronicity. And when you're in alignment, that can show up in your life.
That's
like
the
that,
ease.
Just like that.
That's the effortless. That's where, you and I, like, we have one foot in the new world. We have one foot in the old world. We're cleaning this up. We get taste of the new world. For me, that's the new world operating for me.
Yeah.
That is the frequency of more ease and grace and elegance in manifesting or creating.
Yeah.
And being open, So of course, like, also, I wasn't making the income to match this. And within 2 days, because I said yes and had the courage, I got a guidance come in from my higher self and said, reach out to 4 old clients, tell them that you're working on Zoom because of COVID, and give them a couple of free sessions and see how it goes. 2 signed up, and boom, I doubled my income. Like, just like that.
Yeah.
Like, so then all of a sudden, like, all my work around fearing I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet, fearing I needed a man for support, I was facing it and making choices. But that choice point took a lot of courage, because I had a voice in my ear. I won't say who, but I had a voice in my ear like, don't do that. That's irresponsible. Only take the apartment when you know you have the money.
Right.
But here's the thing, as a magical being, and now in my power, not listening to that voice anymore of disempowerment and not believing in myself, it was like, no, I'm not going to take that route. I know this place is aligned, therefore everything else will line up. And so that's a really good example of sometimes it is jump before you know if there's something going to catch you. And you have that faith.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could have easily gone into victim mode after that experience that we had in the hallway in your building, right? You could have easily been like, I'm always being attacked. I'm always unsafe. I'm always, in a line of fire with people, like I can't relax and stuff like that. You could have easily gone that route and just gone more into, self-doubt or hopelessness or anything like that, right? And just like getting more and more stuck there. You totally could have done that. But because of your commitment to transforming things and the work, right? You chose a different route. You had an option, a choice, and you made a choice to clear that, because it was so blatant. It was so obvious. Like, literally a big guy was like following us around with his phone camera and like saying all this stuff to us and like yelling at us and like giving us dirty looks and like it was bad, right? Like other people were coming out of their rooms like asking what was going on. And so it would have been really easy, to play a victim there, but you didn't. And that was, sometimes it does have to get super fucking obvious to us and super intense and in our face, right? Before we sit down and we say, okay, how am I creating this? How am I contributing to this experience for myself? And you are somebody who like really gets like intense experiences to give you really clear indications of where your energy is. But on the other side of that, you also get really big experiences of the opposite, right? I guess not the opposite, but like, let's say you get really big negative experiences to show you, and then you get really big positive experiences to show you too. So it's like really blatant and obvious when you're in alignment. And so it doesn't have to get to that point, probably, for many people or for you or anyone really. Sometimes we can just take the littlest thing and work with that, right? But if we don't, then it does continue to gain momentum and get bigger and louder and stronger until we sit down and we're like, okay, we really got to look at this here and look at ourselves and why we're creating this, what's underneath all this. And until we do, the outside world is not going to relent, especially if you've chosen this path
as a gift. Because the thing is, I knew I wanted to move them. I knew I wasn't happy in that home. You knew that, like the decor, the area, nothing aligned with my happiness about it. And yet I couldn't get the unlock. And then that man is such a gift, because it wasn't that I'm unhappy in my home. The root belief was very specific. It was, I feel unsafe. And he brought to light the depth of feeling unsafe. Including our neighbors who kept having the people give us eviction notices because the dog barked, or we said hi, or like we spoke, or I played my spirit drum. So it was like, I felt safe, but only to, it was unsafe, like I'm going to be evicted. But I guess it wasn't enough for me to go and realize that I had this like specific, I was like, I know I don't want to be here anyway. So totally. It doesn't have to go to big, bad, challenging things. And yet when they come up, know that that's loud and clear. Like, you've got a belief system going. Because if I didn't, that would have just felt, I'd be like, okay, there's a man coming towards me with his phone. Cool. He wants to talk. He wants to talk about me not wearing a mask. Okay, let's talk about it. But instead it brought up all of this stuff, right? And that's the difference. So here's something very cool. Every time I unwind, I notice that something similar will come around to show me if I got all of it. If I got the full root, or if there's still a little string left. My car was broken into right outside of my house, trashed. And 2 days later, a friend home was broken into at 2 a.m. with her twins in the bedroom. And her husband had to go and basically beat up this guy who was high on meth and trying to break into their house and was relentless. All of that before, as a single woman living alone, would have sent me through the roof. Here. I didn't have one trigger.
Wow.
I didn't put on a heavier lock on my door. I talked to so many people about it and shared it, and they all were like worried for me. And I was like, I'm okay. It didn't, not only do I know I'm okay, but it didn't actually trigger anything. And if it did, I would have told you, because I don't have any shame about this process. But it was like, I knew it was a gift. I knew it was coming to me to be like, okay, you really have cleared this. You really don't feel like someone's going to come get you in your home. Right. Because that's also what I was dealing with. Like, it wasn't just, I didn't like my roommate, but if I was home alone, I would fear that I was unsafe, that someone could come into my home and hurt me. Like, it was multiple things here, and maybe past life stuff there as well. But it was very strong and visceral.
Isn't that amazing? I love that. Like I said, like, if you change something within you, that other person doesn't have to show up in a certain way, or you don't have to have these similar experiences. And at the same time, if those experiences come your way, if the person acts the same way, you're not going to have the same response. It's going to be different. You're not going to be activated by it. You'll just be neutral about it. And then, or you'll have maybe a little response, but it'll be like manageable and controllable. And then you'll say, oh, there's still something there. I need to go look at that. Or you just won't have that same response. And that's freedom. It's not, the freedom is not that never happens again. The freedom is being able to experience that and not have that like strong triggering or activating feeling inside of your body that feels horrible that you want to like
that traumatic
lash out with.
response. Like a nervous system trauma response, you know.
Yeah.
At the time my partner looked out, he's like, why is your one back light on? And I go out and my car was trashed, like just pulled apart, like absolutely trashed. Like it looked like he took one rubber boot and not the other, took a chunk of change and money. I didn't bat an eye. I'm like, okay, I'll deal with this. I'll call the cops, got online, chopped my client. Like within half an hour of discovering it, I'm calm, holding space for my client, go back and deal with it. And it's just like matter of fact, it wasn't like, you know, break down and poor me and like what it could have done, you know.
No. Yeah.
It felt violated and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll double check if I lock my doors from now on. You know, like it was just on the card because I just don't want anyone just voluntarily like leave it open for them kind of thing. But it really was a beautiful opportunity to just see how much has changed. But I love what you said, because that's bang on. It's like things will happen. Like we live in a universe where we bump up against each other, and we could happen to jump into someone else's play, which really isn't about us.
Yeah.
You know, and their kind of chaos is happening, but it's like, okay, how am I responding to it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And
that's the free, and that's how you know how free you are. Right.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, we're working on freedom for the planet and liberating the planet and becoming a sovereign planet. And as we do that, we have to do that within too. And it's one and the other. It's one and the same. It's one and the same.
We can't just sit here and tell everyone else to do it.
No.
You all work on freedom while we sit here. It's like, we got to, who's the planet? Who's humanity? Each of us.
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for you. I'm responsible for me.
Exactly.
But
that's the powerful position, right? It's like, you know, I'm not responsible for you. I'm not responsible for you. You're not responsible for me. Even though, you know, when we choose to stand in that kind of individuated sovereign expression, and we're the master of our own domain, and they're the master of their own domain, then we can come together, then we can merge, then we can co-create. I mean, we already are anyway, but then we can do it from a place of like real truth and power and authenticity and honesty and freedom.
Right.
Then it's powerful to create from that place where we're not looking at the other person to change so that we feel better or do something different so that we feel okay.
Codependency.
Yeah.
So that's codependency, and that's outsourcing, right? So if I try to outsource something that I'm supposed to be empowered with, life will continue to show up in a really challenging way until I develop that muscle. So if I'm to develop the muscle of making a great income for myself, I can't outsource it to a man. That whatever, it will never work until I do it for myself. I'm doing it for myself. Now I don't need it from a man. I could meet a man, and together we co-create with both our incomes and create something bigger. And that's on an energy thing. I'm a full person. You're a full heart. We come together, we elevate, and we, you know, a synergy, right?
Yes.
We literally go higher than the two parts could go separate on their own.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of like vibrational humans gathering and co-creating. Yeah. Is that we're able to elevate higher. And I finally like I really, really have taken full responsibility for ending codependency.
Nice.
And that's a tall order, you know, ending shame and codependency. Like 2.5 equinoxes ago, I stated that was my order, and life has showed up to give me all the ways that I've been codependent or in my shame. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
And some of us are in partnership to do that together. You know, we have a journey sometimes where it's solo for a little while. And we can sort this out for ourselves as a solo individual. And then at some point along that journey, or maybe just different people have different, journeys on this ride. But for example, for me, like that growth and that expansion and that clearing happens in a relationship. And I am in that relationship where we are kind of growing and expanding together. One person expands and grows, the other person reflects that and does their own expansion and growth. And in that way, we climb up that ladder together where we're doing, like Katie said, we're doing that together, whereas we couldn't really do that apart. We couldn't do that on our own. We can get to a certain place alone, but then a lot of the work happens in relationship for some people as well. So for me, like a lot of my patterns are around relationship and in relationship and love and all of that, and codependency as well. And so I'm figuring that out in a relationship, and it's brutal. It's hard. And it's been a super deep process and super challenging experience at times. And I mean, I have so many stories that I could share in relationship to, the relationship part of it, which, at some point I will share, maybe not on this call because we don't want to go too long, but
let's think about
sometimes
wrapping up. But I do love that, like, the next call talking about how our what our relationships have brought up in us, because like the essence of what I was saying, it doesn't matter if I'm in relationship to you or you're in relationship with your partner. The point is that we're all being called to be our own full self.
Totally. Yeah.
And for our North Star, this just came to me sort of in a vision that's like, I'm recalibrating my North Star. No longer is it going to be a man in my relationship.
Yeah.
It's going to be about me, my mission, and my soul. And then when a man joins me, it's going to be like something I've never experienced before, ever.
Yeah.
Because all I know on this planet for many lifetimes is shame and enslavement, like codependency. Yeah. So I'm literally going to be creating a map for something brand new. But first, I have to recalibrate my North Star. And we all are doing that, whether we're in a relationship or not. For me, the message is for me to stand on my 2 feet solo from a man. It's so loud and clear. I've tried. I'm like, no, I want to do it in a relationship. Stubborn Katie. It's like, for now, this is where I'm being called, right? Yeah. For you, you're in there. But either way, the journey is the same. Yes. It's about, this is the mission. This is the soul. This is my North Star. Instead of outsourcing to the partner and the comfort of that. And yes, we still get the comfort, but it looks so different. Mm-hmm. It's not a need. It's a different experience. It's like, beautiful. Okay, you're challenged. You need to go in your room and figure it out. Okay, fine. I'll take care of myself. It's not like, but I need you, so.
And there's room for that all. There's room for that all.
I know.
And it's all part of the journey and process.
And it gets messy, and we just still, like, my inner child still needs that. So yeah. Good. This was a lot of juicy stuff.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. And I loved how you, like, at the beginning really created a really beautiful landscape from a higher perspective to show, like, why are we talking about this? Why does it matter? And for people to relate and be like, that's me. I'm doing that too. Mm-hmm. So let's wrap it up.
Great. Okay.
Do you feel complete with this?
Yeah, I feel great about that. I think, like, obviously we could talk forever about all this stuff because we've got so much material, but we'll we'll be easy on our listeners who've ever stuck with us to this point. And we'll come back for another session in this series and dive more into some of this good stuff.
Yeah. And the real, like, sort of groundwork, like nitty gritty of, like, what are the programs we've actually dissolved? I want us to get into them and be real about them and talk about how they've hijacked us and the freedom on the other side. Cause I want our listeners to relate and be like, oh my gosh. Or maybe it activates something in them, like, oh, wow, that's what that pattern means. Oh, okay. I can dissolve that. I have empowerment here. Yeah. Once I see the belief behind it. So we're going to get into different limiting beliefs. The ego's not that incredible. It doesn't have infinite limiting beliefs. I'm unworthy. I don't deserve. There's some really big ones here that both Em and I have dealt with. Mm-hmm. And there's layers to them. But I think that getting into the nuances of that will be helpful.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you've watched with us, stuck with us this far, and we will see you again real soon.